It's time to talk about the latest update with the upcoming NCAA college football video game known as EA Sports College Football that is set to drop this summer. Now, there's been a little bit of an uproar over the past week as EA did not in fact tease anything during the national championship game. So I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get into a new leaked release date that just happened a little bit ago, talk about some more info you need to know to get you all the way up to speed. And if you're new to the channel and you never want to miss out on any of the future updates regarding this game, as we're going to start getting a lot more information on it the closer we get to release, make sure to subscribe and turn the bell icon on so you never miss any of these important videos when they drop. Now, a couple of hours ago on Twitter, a pretty big account actually dropped a tweet out of nowhere that went pretty viral, and he said, sources, EA Sports College Football planned to launch on July 12th, 2024. Now, this is a pretty big account that is associated with the Florida Gators football, but very shortly after that, Matt Brown came out and made a statement, and he has been the #1 and most reliable leaker for anything pertaining to EA Sports College Football. And what he said was, just talked to 2 people at EA with direct knowledge, and they both said we have not shared a direct release date with anybody and would not confirm this date. July is what I've heard is the target, so this could be correct, but I haven't seen it in writing and EA won't confirm it. Now, David Waters, the guy that originally posted this, made a few replies and he said, I have my own sources, July 12th is the plan. Now, shortly after that, another person spoke out about this who goes by the name of John Reesberg, who is the VP of Global Marketing and Communications with EA Sports, and he quote tweeted Matt Brown's post and said, this is correct, we've said it's coming this summer and we've not announced a specific date. Now, here's what's likely happening here. Is July 12th the planned date? Probably, and I'll tell you why in a little bit, but it's important to note that EA has not confirmed that this is the actual date, and even if it is the date that they want to release it, they're not going to confirm this until probably 2 to 3 months before the game is going to come out anyway, because with game development, things change by the day. So even if this is the planned date, it might wind up coming out a week later, for example, or maybe even a week earlier, but July 12th is probably the most likely date, and that's because if you look back at the past NCAA releases before the game got canceled, it almost always came out during the second week of July. If you look back, the far majority of NCAA releases would release between July 9th and July 15th. And we know in today's times that media always releases on Fridays, and July 12th is a Friday. So if not July 12th, more than likely it would be July 19th, because there were a few NCAA games in the past that would release a little bit after the halfway point of July and would be around July 16th to July 20th. So while this is not a confirmed date yet, and of course EA is not going to confirm it this early and they're going to speak out and say, no, this isn't official just yet, it is more than likely going to be the release date just because the window of time that you have to release NCAA is not really that wide of a range. They're not going to release it as early as June because as you get closer to the game coming out, having that extra month to iron things out, smooth over the game, give it polish, fix up the last minute bugs is actually very important. That's the reason that Madden always kind of releases at the same time and doesn't randomly release in the middle of July one year. It's pretty much always going to be the second or third week of August because they want as much time as possible to make sure that they could smooth out as much as possible. And with a game like this that's releasing for the first time in 10 years, there's even a bigger reason for that because they have to make a big first impression. But you can't release the game too much later than mid-July because then you're getting too close to the Madden release, and they don't want to do that because Madden, outside of FIFA, is their biggest breadwinner. It's one of their flagship games and it makes them a ton of money. They want to make sure that there's an adequate amount of space between NCAA and Madden like they did in the past, and typically you would see NCAA launch about a month to 6 weeks before Madden comes out. And we know that Madden typically is going to come out between August 15th and like August 25th, meaning July 12th to July 19th is really the perfect window release date for the upcoming NCAA game based on what they've done in the past and us knowing that it's coming out this summer. Now we're going to talk about why nothing was teased during the national championship game, as well as some other confirmation that the game is coming this summer from EA. But really quickly, I do want to shout out today's video sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. If you like fantasy and you like pick'em games, you got to be on Underdog Fantasy. Basically, you can pick between a wide variety of player stats to go either higher or lower, and if they hit, you can win big money. You can pick 2 players all the way up to 5 players. The more you pick right, the more money you can win. And the thing I love about Underdog Fantasy is they're constantly giving new users a reason to sign up. They're going to give you free plays. For example, for this weekend's playoff game, they're going to give you Lamar Jackson to get a single yard. So all he has to do is get 1 yard, and that's it. You win. And they also do this throughout basketball season. They'll give you a player like Steph Curry or LeBron James to get a single point to help you win some money. And if you sign up using my promo code RAY, R-A-Y, they'll also give you up to $100 free to play with. They will match your first deposit up to $100, so you get free money and you get a free welcome play play like the Lamar Jackson play this weekend. So if you like sports and you like winning money, definitely check out Underdog Fantasy and use my promo code RAY at sign up. Now, why didn't we get any type of announcement or a tease during the national championship game? Well, as I said in many of my videos on this channel, that was never confirmed or guaranteed to happen. And even some people commented on some of my videos and said that I lied about this or that I was clickbaiting, when in the videos I said that that was one of the few things that was not guaranteed, it was never confirmed by EA, and it was always just a rumor and something that was potentially on the table. And even Matt Brown himself, who I've said has been the most reliable leaker of information for this game, he even came out before the national championship and even on the day of the national championship, and he kept reiterating, I wouldn't expect anything big tonight, if anything at all. There is a chance they could put out a tweet or they could tease something small, but nothing has been confirmed and it is just a rumor. Now, the problem is the 24/7 Sports website, which is, as far as I know, a pretty reputable website. They came out a little bit before the national championship and said that something was going to be revealed. And then a lot of big accounts on Twitter ran with this and were posting it as well. So a lot of people were assuming that something was 100% going to happen. Meanwhile, everybody that has kind of been more in the know has constantly said nothing's guaranteed. They may not show anything at all. And I myself was saying that a lot. I even said it on the national championship day earlier in the morning. I tweeted, I said, look, nothing's guaranteed. We might get something, but don't get your hopes up. And the reality is, did EA maybe want to reveal something or put out an announcement? Maybe that was on the table at one point, but things change day to day when it comes to game development and marketing. And with companies like EA, they have a ton of money, time, and strategy invested into how they want to market their products. So whatever they're going to eventually do for this college football game, some of that is already set in stone. Some of it is still on the table. Yes, they've even been rumored to want to release some teasers during the actual college football season, not even just in the national championship, but just during the regular season in general. And they never did that either because simply it's just not at that time yet where they're ready to tease anything or show anything. Now, that doesn't mean that the game's not coming out or that the game's even in jeopardy of not coming out. In fact, it's the opposite. EA has reiterated that the game is coming out this summer. In fact, even as little as about a month ago, one of the presidents of EA Sports was on a podcast talking about the game, and he reiterated once again, this game is coming out summer 2024. They're in a good spot. Everything is on pace. They're happy with the progress they're making, but that doesn't mean that they're going to start showing things 7 months out. Yes, has it been on the table for them to maybe tease some things? Of course it's been. Anything's on the table because the game has been gone for so long. They definitely do want to try to put out some information, but one thing you got to know about EA and a lot of these game companies is they are not going to put out information until they are good and ready. That's why when it comes to games like Madden and NBA 2K and FIFA, typically for some of those games, we don't even really start finding out info until a month before it drops. With Madden, usually it's about 2 months. So as far as anything NCAA is concerned, I wouldn't get hype or expect anything to be officially dropped before May. Now, will they maybe do stuff a little bit sooner just when you consider the magnitude of this game, the fact that it's been gone and kind of teased for so long? Maybe, yeah, maybe they drop some tidbits in March, maybe in April. I believe that is kind of the current rumor, is that, you know, they're kind of getting close to starting to want to show some things, and they might throw out some stuff in the next couple of months. But again, none of that is guaranteed. None of it is confirmed until it actually happens, because they may have a plan in their head that, hey, we want to start showing some stuff in March, and that might get pushed back to April or May. But the one thing that has remained constant is the CEO of EA Sports, the vice president of EA Sports, the marketing guy today on Twitter have all kept saying summer 2024. That is the one thing that out of their own mouths they have said repeatedly over the past year. So if you think that they're all lying about this or that it's never going to come out, I don't really know what the end goal there would be for them to just spend the last year or two lying about a game that they've been working on. If they keep saying summer 2024, that's likely when it's going to come out unless something major happens, which at this point, I think if they were going to push it back, they would have said something by now, because when initially they did want to get it out for summer 2023, we learned pretty early on that they were pushing it back to 2024. I think they announced that in about November or December of 2022. And we're past that point of this following year. If they were going to push it back, they probably would have announced that within the last month or two, and they haven't. Instead, within the last month or two, multiple people high up in EA have been on record either on a website, on a podcast, or on Twitter saying it's coming out in summer 2024. So yes, we didn't get a tease for the national championship, and today we're getting leaked release dates that are likely going to be pretty accurate just based on when the previous games would release. release and when considering when the Madden release date typically is. Yes, we've been kind of dealing with that stuff, but the one constant has been that we know it's coming out this summer. So if you don't think it is, I mean, I guess at this point you just have to start seeing to believe, which I guess I understand, but I just don't see why the highest up people in EA Sports would just be lying about this, because what would be the end goal in that? All that would do is make people hate them. And people already hate them, but they would just make them hate them even more. And I've seen a lot of people saying, well, when a game is this in demand and this anticipated, you should be showing stuff about it. But I mean, I could argue the opposite. This game is so in demand that they could literally just drop it one day with no trailer, no screenshots, no info, and it's still going to sell like crazy. When something is this in demand and this wanted from people, that's the marketing in itself. You don't even have to market it. We're talking about this game every day because we want it so bad. If they drop this game out of thin air, people are not going to hesitate to buy it. Now, of course, that's not the route they're going to go. They're, of course, going to show trailers and talk about the features and have videos and early gameplay, just like they do for all their other games. But expecting them to drop trailers or confirm a release date in January when the game is not due out for 7 months, that's just not something we typically see from any game, especially sports games. I know the game's been going for a long time and people think that that should make the difference of them speaking about it earlier, but the truth is, even though the game has been worked on for a while, those last 6 months of game development, you would be surprised how much actually changes. I've played Madden in some early states before in like April and May when they were 3 to 4 months away from being released, and keep in mind this is a game that comes out every year, so they're kind of just adding and tweaking on to what's already there. And I've played games in early states that are just nothing like the game that actually comes out, because so much happens in those last 4 to 6 months of game development. Yes, a lot of the big things are out of the way, but there's so many little things that they have to go over, finalize, tweak, and tune that make massive differences in the game. So this game, whatever it looks like in its current state, is probably pretty significantly different than what it's going to look like when it actually is ready to be on your consoles in July. So it doesn't matter that they've had 4 years to work on it. They're still kind of in that final crunch stage now, that last 6 months where a lot of stuff actually happens and a lot of fine tuning takes place, and it's kind of like that last 15 to 20% of the game that gets put together before release kind of winds up making a much bigger impact on the game as a whole, because it kind of ties everything together. So the game really probably isn't in a state that is ready to be shown off yet, but in the next 3 to 4 months, it's going to be a lot closer to that, and we're going to start seeing probably some screenshots and some trailers and actually getting official info and release dates. So you're going to see a lot more rumors floating around, especially over the next few months. All we know right now are the things that we do know, which is Road to Glory, Dynasty Mode, Transfer Portal. We know features. I've done videos on all of the confirmed and expected features, but outside of that, I wouldn't expect trailers, release dates, images anytime before the next at least 2 to 3 months at earliest. But do know the game's coming out this summer, because everybody that matters at EA Sports has said that it is. Now, if you want to know about some of these confirmed features for the game, I actually did a video just going over everything that we do know about the game thus far, and you can check out that video right here on the screen.